Good evening, Sidekicks Nation. It's Manny Cabrera. I'm the owner and chief instructor at Sidekicks Family Martial Arts Center, and you are here live for Powerful Days, which is a daily show that I do to talk to you, parents and people in our community, and maybe even students about how to maximize your life and get the most out of it that you can so that you can be the best version of yourself and live every day to the fullest. I'm going to give it a couple seconds for people to get online, but I hope that you guys have an amazing day. I'm coming to you a little later in the evening than I normally do. I have actually been all day here in New Jersey working with other business owners about how they can help their communities to help reach more in their communities, to help people, young people develop into, have better athletics and healthy lives, and really help the owners win their freedom as well. So if you're here, I'm interested in having interacting with you. So do me a solid and just comment in the section that you're here and give me some hearts and likes throughout the call and tell me that you really like what it is that you're seeing. So like I said, we're gonna give it another 30 seconds and then I'm gonna go ahead and get right to it. Let me just go and check things out real quick. Make sure that I am live 5x5 everywhere on the internet, Like I said, tell me that you are here. I'm excited to talk to you. Let me do a sound check. Just let me know if you can hear me. Yeah, I can hear me. That's good. So today's topic, what we're going to talk about is what we can learn from a POW, a prisoner of war during Vietnam, that can help us to overcome challenges in our own lives. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about one of my favorite books. And it happens to be a business book, but it really is, in my opinion, one of the greatest books about interacting in organizations and being one of the, and leadership as well. So one of my favorite books is Good to Great by Jim Collins. And basically it outlines, a couple of these different factors of what it takes to make the transition from being a good business or to being a great business. In fact, I love the first line of the book. It says that good is the enemy of great, and that we have great school. We don't have great schools because we have good schools, and we don't have great relationships because we have good relationships. And that complacency in a lot of cases is just kind of one of those things that holds us back. And he analyzed a lot of different factors, but one of the things that really has stuck with me over the years is this interview that he did with Admiral William Stockdale. And if you don't know who Admiral William Stockdale is, you Google him because he's a pretty incredible guy. And essentially, what he kind of is most noted for is he was the highest-ranking prisoner of war in the POW camp in Saigon during the Vietnam era, or the Vietnam War. And so, as you might imagine, him being kind of the target as the highest ranking person of the ire of his captors, he was, beaten frequently, tortured frequently, and, in general, they were always trying to press him for information or press him to confess to the war crimes of America or whatever, that they could come up with at the time, and try and videotape him and, to send back to America to humiliate our armed forces, all kinds of stuff. One of the things, though, during the of the recounting of the interview that the author Jim Collins did, is he really he talked to him like who were the people who didn't survive who didn't survive, other than obviously they were killed by their captors, but didn't survive the mistreatment and the general poor conditions. Their spirit was broken, and he said that was really easy. That the people who were the people who didn't make it, so to speak, were the optimists. They were the people that, that they would, confidently say, what, we're going to be out by Christmas time. And then Christmas would come and Christmas would go and they're still there in the prison. And then they would be like, hey, we're going to be out by our, St. Patrick's Day. And then St. Patrick's Day would come and they were still there. And then 4th of July. And then by then, soon it was Christmas time again. And they would basically die, broken spirited and give up because they lost the will to continue to thrive. And, coming from someone who was tortured and beaten frequently, his key to success, so to speak, was that, he confronted, the reality of his situation. He was in a really, tough position. But all of the while, in his spirit, he had this confidence that no matter what he had to endure, no matter what harshness he encountered, he was going to make it. He was going to survive. And so, there's this balance that we have to have in our own lives that are going to help us overcome challenges, that we have to have this balance of confronting the brutal facts of our reality. I would say that being a prisoner of war, in Vietnam is probably one of the harshest, positions that you can be in. And at the same time, maintaining that you're going to make it out of this situation, that you're going to survive, you're going to, be intact, mentally, if not necessarily, worse for the wear physically. So how is that really something that's going to help us in our own, in our own daily personal challenges? Well, the number one thing is you got to have both. You got to be able to see, hey, this XYZ is not going right in my life. And then also be able to say, you know what, though, I'm going to be able to figure out a way to overcome that challenge. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen is if you confront the brutal facts and then you don't have that confidence that you don't have that, that sense of certainty that you're going to overcome it no matter what, then you're going to basically fall into the trap of, depression and giving up and, not wanting to continue with whatever it is and, essentially capitulate into defeat, in your own life. And that's really not something that I'm sure that you want or that I want for you as a person. On the other side, if you have that certainty that you're going to succeed, but you're never confronting the brutal facts of your reality, you're kind of living with rose-colored glasses, well, you're going to fall into a problem where you're never going to experience the change because you're not doing anything to change your situation. And so you got to confront the reality of what it is that's going on, and have that certainty that you're going to succeed. It's one of those things that, like, your spirit can never be broken. Your will can never be broken. It looks like my mom is on here, and she says, don't stand down. And that's very much the same, the principle that we're going for. In the long run, whatever it is, you have to have that they have to kill me to beat me type mentality. And that's essentially what Admiral Stockdale did in quite the literal sense. They couldn't break his spirit. They couldn't destroy his will, during that camp because number one, he had the other prisoners to rely on. They were together. They were united in their suffering. And two, he had that certainty that, if they didn't kill him physically, that they were not going to be able to break his spirit, that he was going to overcome. I'm sure that there were low points during that time, but definitely, he is one of those people that you can look to and say, hey, that's somebody who knows about willpower. You know what I mean? So what are the things in your life that you're kind of trying to rose color over, but you know that you need to confront the fact that, hey, I'm not doing X, Y, Z. I'm not going out and working out like I should. I'm not putting everything that I can into my job like I should, to get that next promotion. Or maybe I'm not doing the things that I need to do in order to go ahead and launch that side hustle. Or maybe I'm not investing the time in my relationships that I can. But the great thing is that you can, once you've done that, you can identify what you can do to fix it and have the certainty that, doesn't matter what the route is going to be to get there, you're going to be able to get there. So really, that's my message for you today. So like I said, throughout, early yesterday, the time that we're going to do our video together is going to be a little bit different throughout the week. It's probably going to be a little later tomorrow evening again, but like I said, I'm committed to being with you guys every single day. And I'm hoping you're loving this show. If you enjoy the message that you got out of this today, would you hit the like buttons? Would you hit the love button? Would you share it with somebody who needs to, hear this message? And you know what? Further information, I would recommend, the resource for the day, I would say, is read Good to Great or listen to it on the audio, or at least find that portion about Admiral Stockdale. So I hope you have a powerful day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.